because my dad was always working, but the few times that he played catch to me, some of my favorite memories. So I think a lot of times we think it has to be something grandiose that our kids want, but they just want you to be present.
I think to add to that, in addition, when it comes to kids, I am a proponent of meaningful time instead. So quality time over quantity is what I teach.
Right.
I've been married for 23 years, and I have a great family and great kids. And I've worked untold number of hours for decades to do what I've done. But I had some hard and fast rules. And I was always home at night to put the kids to bed. I'd go back to work, but I was always home to kiss them, and say goodnight 80% of the time. But the other thing too is that quality time.
Yeah.
So and to your point, I'll tell you a quick story. When I was younger, building the companies and things were really ugly, and I almost lost it half a dozen times, and all the kind of things that you go through when you're building a big business. I would call my wife and I'd say, "Oh, it's really ugly," and she would pack a lunch. Wouldn't go buy one because we couldn't afford it then. But she'd, throw some sandwiches and those sorts of things. And I'd meet her at a school right up the street from my office, and she'd bring the bikes, and I'd watch my little kids ride their bikes around in circles. Nothing made me happier. Nothing got rid of more stress. Nothing fired me up more to go back out and go to work and go to war and do everything I could to be successful than watching them little kids on their little bikes go around in circles.
And I love that, because I think of my favorite memories with my parents, and my mom only did this one time where she got in a snowball fight with me, and she never played. But the one time she did it, I couldn't believe it, and I'll never forget that. And the few times, because my dad was always working, but the few times that he played catch to me, some of my favorite memories. So I think a lot of times we think it has to be something grandiose that our kids want, but they just want you to be present and be able to have the opportunity to create playful moments. I'm right now contributing to a news article where the question is, when winter rolls around and we're not able to go out as much because, of this crazy time period, what can you do? And I thought of one way of order your spouse's favorite meal, right? And you have them pick it up. And then if you happen to have kids, because you can't go out maybe to a restaurant or the restaurant's not open, have your kids be the servers, the waiter and waitress, and create a whole experience, of just like dining out under candlelight run by your kids. You're still having the same meal, but just making that memorable, ridiculous moment with your spouse. She'll never forget that, right? She'll be talking about that a decade from now. So why not we explore our imagination and use that novelty to create some memorable moments?
That reminds me, again, you're hitting on a lot of topics that bring memories to mind. One in particular is at our house, that's called Smorgasbord. And so my kids, even now, when they were little, my wife would say, "Okay, it's Sunday night. We're going to watch Funniest Home Videos," which we did every Sunday. And then you kids can get the little, the box meals that you cook.
Yeah.
And so they could pick whatever they wanted. And the boys would get their chicken nuggets. Of course, they'd get 2 or 3. And my daughter would always get the spaghetti. And, they get the same thing. But we called it Smorgasbord. You get whatever you want, and we're going to sit and we're going to watch the show. Well, now they'll come in and they'll say, "Hey, what's for dinner, Mom?" Now they're 250 pounds and 6'4". "What's for dinner?" And she's like, "I got nothing planned." "Oh, Smorgasbord," they'll say. This is 15 years later.
15 years later, man. That's awesome.
And 40 years later, they'll call it Smorgasbord.
Right.
What's Smorgasbord? That's just getting to eat whatever we want to, whatever we can find, whatever we can kind of pool together. So
yeah, I just love that. The traditions are just so important. And again, it's practicing being present, right? Because those traditions are awesome because you were present in those moments.
Right.